Beep, 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 beep. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are on the globe, and welcome to the Court of the EDI Jester. How you doing, peeps? And what have I got for you today? Well, I've come across an organisation that I was previously hitherto and therefore unaware of. And I thought it might be a good idea if I told you a bit about them and also, something that they've done, which is quite interesting for us, those of us involved, in the battle. You'll notice it's the standing jester today. With my standing desk, I am able to do so. So, the alumni for free speech. So that's what we're going to talk about. Become a warrior, teacher, buy me a coffee if you can help out. That'd be great. The usual stuff, okay? The usual stuff, if you could do that, would be good. So the alumni for free speech, who are keeping an eyeball on what universities are doing, particularly in regards to that ridiculous notion of the old EDI, or as I call it, DIA. And they've come up with some figures. They've done a freedom of information request, which is always something that's quite useful, Let's stick a freedom of information request in, let's see what comes back. And that's what they've done. The trouble with those is that people like to not do them. So you've got to get the wording quite right. You've got to get it just right. I don't think it was ever meant to be that difficult, but it is. Leading universities spend 214 times more, 214 times more, on diversity staff than on free speech protection staff. That's a fair fight then, isn't it? Right? According to our Freedom of Information data. The AFFS, the Alumni for Free Speech, remember that, yep, considers that the loss of institutional neutrality at our universities has been very damaging for free speech, and that their EDI departments enforcing ideological agendas in respect of a range of contested areas is at the heart of the problem. I couldn't agree more. Shouldn't be a department. If you're going to do EDI properly, it should be a friendly visitor. It's about a celebration. Right? It's not about enforcing ideology, these lunatics. Remember, equality of opportunity, diversity of thought, inclusion and action. Yeah, not diversity of immutable characteristics, inclusivity in the in-club, and equity, murderous equity or equality of outcome. So most people are practicing DI and calling it EDI. No surprise there, because it's all part of the old. Let's just queer everything. We'll queer it. How are we going to get people to buy into this? Queer it. It'll confuse them. Right, so the uncontrolled expansion of university EDI departments poses a real and present threat to free speech. You bet. Universities need much better free speech infrastructure in order to properly. They missed a 2 there. It says in order to properly No, I've got that wrong. It's in order properly to comply. It's a very strange word there. In order properly to comply with their legal obligations to protect free speech. We sent freedom of information requests to over 50 universities asking how many people were engaged in EDI on freedom speech protection and what the comparative costs were. The responses have revealed the following massive disparity. And I will now take a sip of my tea while you, good watcher, take a deep breath. The 47 universities that provided relevant information employed 515 dedicated EDI staff, an average of 11 each. The total EDI cost across the universities that provided financial information was 19.5 million. 17.9 million on staff and 1.6 million on external resources. Of the 43 universities that provided information about free speech, only 2 said they employed anyone with specific free speech responsibilities. These 2, between them, employed not more than 5 people. One reported staff costs of 71,000. Another said it spent just over 20,000 on external free speech resources. Overall, therefore, 214 times as much money appears to be being spent by our leading universities on EDI as on free speech protection. Tells you everything, doesn't it? It's absolutely extraordinary. Now, what they've done here at the AFFS is they've put the links in the bottom of their article, which is, of course, as usual, in the Dubris. And you're able then to have a look at their detailed statement about the project and why the disparity in resources matter so much. Then they've also got the data from the spreadsheet, with the detailed data that you can go and, if you wish, to examine yourself and see what else that data can tell you. And they've got the freedom of information questions that they asked, which could be very useful. Those would be worth a look at for those of us that want to do FRIs. And then the quality of information provided and commentary on university performance. And all of that is there for you to take a look at. 214 times. And what are these EDI departments doing? I mean, we've already got, training departments and that human resources departments that are absolutely unfit for purpose. I mean, they're being run by people that are nutters, aren't they? Gender ideologues and critical social justice warriors and postmodernists and deconstructionists. And the vast majority of people that work in HR are women or gay men. I've seen many a flanker in the HR department in my time, including me. The problem with the HR department is its positionality within an organisation. So here's the thought for you. Right, most organisations will go, back people, go to the HR department. The HR department is actually the police of the business, aren't they? They're no longer what they used to be. And they need to be brought to heel. And if you want to bring them to heel, the easiest way to bring them to heel is to have an organisational development department, and you stick them under that. And at the top of your organisational development department, you find a nice, healthy, gender-critical curmudgeon. And you stick them in and go, right, deal with them. Yeah. And with the strangest thing of all about most of this stuff is a huge amount of this DI stuff happens on PowerPoint, on slides, that are then put into a video and you watch and tick the boxes so that they can say they've done it, But there's also a huge amount of it that takes place face-to-face. But yet, management training face-to-face is almost non-existent. Leadership training face-to-face is almost non-existent, but this stuff takes place face-to-face. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I remember years ago when they first started introducing this cobblers in the civil service and I was training unconscious bias training, right? And they said, right, we're going to do this unconscious bias training. There's only certain people that will be able to do it. I did it once and never did it again because I saw it for what it was. An absolute lie. Unconscious bias training is bunkum and it has been absolutely torn to shreds. The government did it and they've got details of that on their website. It's time we did that, the same thing with this nonsense when they come in and start talking to you about diversity. So I went into my doctors, my local docs. They're good, they are, the docs, brilliant people. Saw the nurse, got the email to write to, and they were surprised to hear that was there. So somebody's done it without them knowing, I imagine. It was ironic, really, because it's got, male, female, or other on their form now you fill out. This is an idea of the kind of capture that universities are doing, right? Male, female, other. Right, okay, I was like, right, okay, no, not having that, ain't happening, no, back to the drawing board. And then I walk in the room and it's got something on the wall that says, all our patients, male and female, may have a chaperone. This is a doctor's confused. But that was a great example I was able to point out there. Look, you see there. That's what happens when you start farting about with this nonsense that these activists want you to do in universities and in medicine. So there you go, 214 times more resources for DI versus free speech. I know which I think is more important, and I wonder whether all my good viewers and YouTubers and Twitterites also agree, which is the most important, which is free speech. It's not complicated. Okay? Say no to EDI. They can't force you to do it. Mandatory re-education. So a business might say go, you can go, you don't have to listen, you don't have to take part. Just sit there and record it. Make notes. Let me have them. And then I'll expose it for the cobbler as it is. Most of this is being done by people that don't understand what they're doing. Most of this is being done by people that don't even understand how to teach. That's the most extraordinary thing about it. We were laughing in the Warrior Teacher Programme last night about this nonsense. It's filled with people that have no idea what it is that they're doing. But it's a great thing that they've done this FOI, and it really does give us a nice juicy figure to chew on. Go and have a look. Go and have a look at the data set. See what you think. What else can you get of it? I imagine Tish would enjoy this one. Don't forget, follow @SteelTish. Yep, I imagine Tish would like this one. Okay, so I'll put Tish's details, Twitter, in the doobers as well as the article, because you should be following that SteelTish because she's the best researcher in the business. All right, go away. I'm going to go and do some things. Great to see you. Bye bye, folks. Have a grand time.